Hello, welcome today. My guest, you have Breanna Cain on the episode today. So how are you today, Bre?
I'm so good, so excited and happy to be here.
I'm excited to have a conversation with you. First off, I want to let the listeners know that I met Bre in a Facebook group about maybe a year to year and a half ago, probably, yeah, close to 2 years. And I was just really drawn to her energy and her smile. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this and just light up the Zoom room. And so Bre had me on as a guest in her first Facebook group talking about time management, self-care skills, and prioritizing for busy moms. But now it's my turn to have Bre on as a guest. So meet Bre Cain. She's a mom of three and a multi six-figure business owner. She helps women create life-changing income doing the work they love. Her breakthrough mindset training and business building frameworks have already supported over 150 female entrepreneurs in launching virtual assistant businesses and passion-filled online empires. She knows firsthand that with the right plan and community, you can ditch unfulfilling work and begin earning your first month what you made the entire prior year. If you're ready to monetize your talents to scale up your success timeline, then you're in the right spot with Bre. So welcome to the podcast, Bre.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's a true pleasure and joy to be here and so fun to reflect back on when we first connected. And, I think both of our businesses have really grown and really taken the most beautiful, unexpected twists and turns.
Oh, definitely. So with that, can you start out by sharing your story? How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, going way back, growing up, the message that I internalized and really was the message of the day, the internet was not what it was back then, was you go to college, you get a job, you climb the ladder, and that was really what defined your success and your worth. And so I did that. I followed the rules, the good girl, went to college, got a job, kept working, kept climbing the ladder. And then I had my first baby. And that was really when everything changed. I originally did go back to work after having her.
Mhm.
Um, but 3 months in, I was like, this is not, I didn't want to become a mom to have 45 minutes with her in the morning and an hour in the evening. But also it felt like this loss of an identity and really who I knew myself as the career woman, and what had defined my success and my worth as a human being, essentially.
Mhm.
And so it has been this beautiful journey. My oldest is now 6.5, and it's been such a journey of really finding out who I was as a woman and as a mom. And I truly feel I have 3 daughters now. I feel like each child was this rebirth of who I was.
Mhm.
And that whole time when I made the decision to be home with Harper, I still wanted connection, income, autonomy, purpose, all of that. And so originally I jumped into the direct sales field and was there for 5 or so years. Saw success, learned a ton, met great friends. But there came this pivotal moment where my husband was like, all this time and energy you're putting into someone else's business, what if you put that into your own business? And I was like, wait, what? I couldn't unhear it. But I didn't know what that would look like. I was like, yes, I would love to do that. And suddenly, my direct sales business felt really out of alignment. It was like, I can't unsee this vision of having something of my own. And that's actually kind of when we first connected, Peggy. It was like,
Yeah.
I was just dipping my toes into okay, let's do something of my own. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm putting myself into these communities and investing in mentorship, all of that. And it's been a wild journey. About a year ago I started a new brand, new business, and we have scaled to 250K in 1 year, having helped over 150 women essentially do what I found within motherhood that allowed me to have that consistent income, flexible time with my children, and really feeling like I had it all as a mom. So it's been a wild journey, but here we are now today. And oh my goodness, I'm so excited for what 2024 is going to bring.
Well, yeah. And I'm just getting so excited with you. I mean, and just your energy is just, magnetic in that. And so share a little bit about people can hear and feel your passions, of just wanting to do more, but be a mom, but, fulfill that purpose. I think we all have that drive of like, there's something more out there. Like we have to feel like we have a purpose. And so can you touch a little bit on that and how you found your passions and what they are and how you help others find theirs?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always like from day one when I became a mom, I was always like, I don't want to lose, like I want to be a mom and all in on motherhood.
Mhm,
I love my girls more than anything, but I still wanted my own autonomy and identity and all of
mhm,
that. And so it's taken some iterations to really step into, I would say, all of who I am as a mom and a woman. But some of the most powerful shifts that I've seen in kind of figuring out who I am and what my purpose is kind of normalizing the messy forward action, normalizing it's okay to quote unquote fail, but also
mhm,
seeing nothing is a failure. Everything is experience and knowledge that you get to take into your next steps.
mhm,
Um, and not being scared to get out of my comfort zone for what I want. And when, kind of finding like when I had that massive vision, it almost made fear irrelevant because it was all just, it felt so purposeful and like destined of like, this is my life, like one life. And, then really helping mom see that too. And like when I was starting out my own business, I was like, well, I'm going to help moms with confidence in motherhood, which is amazing.
mhm,
Um, but it was what I found was it was not specific and tangible enough for me to one really see like success in my own life, but also to really support moms. And so I started looking for a tangible way as a mom to bring in consistent income from home. Direct sales, you're kind of waiting for someone to buy or join. And,
yep,
there's a lot of activities that are now like not, I would say, appropriate in business building. Like when I first started direct sales, for example,
right.
they were coached us like download your entire friends list and reach out to everyone one by one. I'm like, I don't think you can get away, like you can't do that anymore. People will just be like block.
Not too many people have done that. So where it's kind of like,
Exactly.
that's like a red flag for people now. Like before, it wasn't something that was done probably, but now
Yes.
it's like, okay, we kind of can read between the lines.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's like, having gone through all iterations of that journey, it's like, okay, what could I do as a mom from home, consistent income, use the skill set I already have, flexible schedule so I can still tuck kids in for naps. And it took me 6 months of deciding to start my own business to find that.
Mhm,
And when I did, I found it and in 3 days had booked a consistent 2K a month client. And then in my first full month of this thing, I hit 5K months as a mom, which was more than my take home pay and my pre baby corporate career as a director at a university.
mhm.
Um, and I was like, what is this? Like, this is crazy, which it's the virtual assistant industry. And so, as I started sharing, like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, look what just happened. Like, this is what I've been looking for my
Mhm,
whole time in motherhood that
mhm.
I never found. And it's here and it's real. And like, what is this? And everyone's like, how did you do that? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, actually, let me show you. And that was what started the next evolution of my brand and my journey and leadership and, how to serve and support my community.
Well, that's amazing because, you took something as just like, oh, like you said, you couldn't unlearn or unhear, your husband, well, why don't you spend the energy in building your own thing? And it's like, some of us don't have that idea, like, I can actually do my own business, and I don't know about you, but I mean, that was always in my thought because my parents had run their own business, but I had taken it as, I don't want to do that because it was a 24/7 almost type of atmosphere. We didn't do like 2-week vacations anymore. They still made to all of our sporting events, but they were working on the weekends and different things. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that because in my elementary brain, equaled work all the time to owning your business. But
Mhm.
you have made it work into your schedule as a mom, being able to tuck in kids at nap time, be there at night, not be drained and running, different directions. And you're teaching others how to do that.
Yeah.
It is so amazing because I think we don't feel like we can have both. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm have 6 kids, 5 of them are girls, so it's like, okay, how can I be all of that? And my skills as, time management, organized, I've been able to do it. But that identity that you've talked about is like having that identity outside of being a mom and
Mhm.
having that purpose and feeling like you can contribute financially to the household is, some things that in this world, in this kind of more modern world of two-parent homes and independent women that want to, see that they can do it. Like you're doing this. You're helping people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so tangible. And it's like it's exactly what I was looking for within motherhood. And so it just feels like this extension of who I am to like help other moms have this too. And I mean, everything you shared of feeling like we have to give up who we are and just like the economy and rising costs of everything. It's like a stay-at-home mom of 5 years ago, like now as a stay-at-home mom, that looks so different because everything's like dang near twice as expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it just through this journey over the past year, like moms want this, moms need this. And it
Mhm.
feels like the biggest gift and blessing to be doing what I'm doing. And like I know it because it transformed my own life. And now it's such a gift and a joy and honor to help other moms transform their lives and their motherhood experiences. Like where, like you said, it doesn't have to come at a sacrifice or a cost.
Right. Can you share just a general kind of feedback that you're getting from all these women that you're helping out to, create a new identity? But you also mentioned earlier, you first started, you wanted to give women more confidence, moms more confidence. And this is a tangible way that you felt. So how does that connect? How do you feel like they have gained confidence in doing this?
Oh my gosh, I love this question. And I love that you brought that up too, because it is, I don't, comical is not the right word, but it's funny to look back at what I originally intended to support moms with, which was finding confidence. And I'm still very much doing that. It just looks different than how I initially started. But yes, I mean, I would say like being a virtual assistant, which like even backing up, so virtual assistant, you essentially use your professional skill set or existing work experience to support business owners, entrepreneurs, companies virtually and remotely. And it's flexible. You could start out at 1 hour a week up to full time or more than full time. So with that, like what I see is it being a virtual assistant is so much more than simply the virtual assistant industry. It's using all of who you are, your experience, your knowledge, your skill set for something that's bigger, like beyond motherhood. Like being a mom is the most amazing thing, but I think all of us moms can agree, like having something of our own that we're wildly passionate about makes us a better mom.
Mhm.
And so it gives moms, they can use like what they have, use their brains, their connection, stay kind of in the business adult world while not having to give up time with their kids. Or I also love to say it's like you can afford the babysitter now, or like you want to have like 2 kid-free days a week and like they're in daycare, socializing, hanging out with peers their age, and you get like time to like sip hot coffee and like work, do client work that you love to do. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. You can do it on your own time. So it's kind of like time and financial freedom. So being
Absolutely.
a mom and having the best of both worlds. So what
Definitely.
kind of like virtual assistants, like sometimes I'm like really vague, like, some people might know a lot about that industry, but can you give some examples of work that maybe you do or some of the women that you work with do as far as being a VA?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, I'll share some of my first roles as a VA and then, some common roles that I see the moms I support work in.
Okay.
So my background was in both recruiting and also fundraising and development, working for universities like donor relations, alumni relations, all of that. And so my first VA role, I actually was hired as her director of operations, which is, I think, goes to show too, like I've never worked in an operations role before, but you get to leverage your professional background. And there were pieces in my background. She's like, you can absolutely do this. She is a career coach. So she helps people rewrite their resumes, prep for interviews, prep for salary negotiation, all of that. So she had me come in, and there was the social media element where I was helping create content primarily for her LinkedIn. I was also in her LinkedIn, like responding to comments and messages, kind of like the whole back end of her business, in her email inbox, responding to messages, supporting her new clients with kind of the onboarding experience, and kind of the back end project management of, getting their client portal set up, making sure communication goes out to them when it's supposed to, all of that. It was so much fun. And I think the really cool part too is, she was very supportive and open of like, this is your first VA role. I'll show you exactly what you need to do in my business, like really hiring for drive, personality, aptitude, the ability, and like willingness to learn, and not so much like you have to have been a director of operations before. So that role was amazing. Another really fun role I had was as a community manager for a large online entrepreneur who has a human design and messaging, so like marketing, branding, messaging
Mhm.
program. And this was such a fun role. And I see my students, like when they get in these roles too, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like so much fun. Community manager. And in this particular role, this entrepreneur had 8 different Facebook groups with, for all her different programs, and then like a large one of just,
Wow.
her free
Yeah.
group for her community. And I would manage those. So she said 2 to 3 times a day, I want you to go in, approve new members, welcome them in, comment when people post, answer questions. She gave me a list of FAQs, so I knew how to answer them. And so that's what I did every day, 2 to 3 times a day. She's like, I don't care when you do it. I just want it to happen 2 to 3 times a day. Like, what a perfect role for a mom. And,
Yeah.
I love people and like connecting and relating. So
Mhm.
perfect role for someone that likes, that kind of environment. Another really fun VA role I had was as the HR manager and team lead for a virtual assistant agency. So she would hire VAs that would work with interior designers. And I was the one who would, do kind of the recruiting and onboarding efforts for the new VAs, and then support them, as they got set up for success, and do like check-in calls and all that, kind of like the face of the VA side of her
Yeah.
agency. So, 3 totally different roles, so much fun, and just pulling out like tidbits of my professional background.
Mhm.
Um, and like, even I have a lot of teachers that come to me wanting to, get out of the classroom and have that flexibility.
Mhm.
Teachers absolutely crush it. And one of the ways that I tell people to think about how to look at your background, this goes for like nurses too, for example. So teachers and nurses, they have students and patients. For those students and patients, they manage care plans, timelines, deliverables, chain of communication. If you think of that as project management, you are highly qualified to serve in project management or operations type role where you're managing the details for, multiple different entities.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of, thinking, if you're listening to this episode, like thinking through your background, is how can you zoom out beyond just the industry you're in and look for transferable experience, skills, like do an inventory of your skill set, look for themes, and then 3 to 5 of those themes could be what you offer as virtual assistant services.
Oh, that's so good that you brought that up, because I was even thinking in my head, because sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, I've never done that, and like, I don't know how those skills could transfer over. But as you're talking, I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm very organized. I could be a project manager because I've done these things, in different capacities, in different ways, but you lump them together. And so, do you help people kind of pull those out of them? Because I think that that's one of those things that you maybe tie back to like failure or the fear piece, is that we don't know if we can actually do something because we don't really have that skill per se, or that title, but yet we might, in the things that we just kind of blow off as we know how to do.
Yes, Oh my gosh, but yes, yes to all of that. Like, and I love what you just said about the things that we know how to do, we discount.
Mhm.
Very much so. It's like, can you go write a social media post for your personal page? Awesome. You can go do that for other people. Do you know how to respond to emails in your inbox? Awesome. You can go do that for other people. It's like the stuff that's so easy and intuitive to us, we don't even think, but there's
Right.
business owners that need that in their business. And then yeah, so as my like part of my professional background is in recruiting. So I've, done thousands of interviews, looked at thousands of resumes, and very much one of my ninja superpowers is that I can pull the gold and the magic out of your skill set. And like with 100% confidence, anyone can be a virtual assistant. Absolutely. And a lot of it comes down to positioning. And that's I think why a lot of my students choose to work with me is I'm like, I can build your 6-figure VA brand like that. Let's freaking go.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's exciting. I mean, you just bring the energy and, and it's like, who wouldn't want to work with you at all? Like, I mean, it's just like, oh my
We
gosh,
have
you got that. And so I want to circle back and touch, on failure, because I feel like, when people are in a transition or thinking about a transition, the failure piece of like, I don't know if this is going to work out. And I know that you touched on it. I want to say, I kind of put, if you want to put the acronym or something down for failure, I kind of see it as the first attempt in learning usually requires editing, and so we don't get things right away, and we kind of forget that we've learned the skill of practicing and practicing. We've never really labeled it as failure until later when we get older. And then all of a sudden we fear the word and we fear failure. And so, do you have any thoughts or anything on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it even makes me think of, if we think about when we were learning how to walk, the
Mhm.
first time we fell down, what if we said, well, I'm never walking again? Or, our first heartbreak in high school, and you say, well, I'm never going to love or date anyone again. Like,
Right.
it's just part of life is, like, it's like the first step of learning, like what you just said. But I think as adults, we get so scared of failure. One of the most powerful as a quote that I've seen is the fear of failure keeps us from success. And so it's really just unlocking and normalizing like feeling uncomfortable, getting out of your comfort zone. I love the book The Big Leap by Gay
Mhm.
Hendricks.
Yep. Yep.
It's and it talks about how, it's like when we're out of our comfort zone, it feels like it's boiling hot. And subconsciously, we want to get back to where it feels comfortable. And so a lot of times we have this upper limit.
Mhm.
But even just being aware of that, like, the next time we do something uncomfortable, it's like, okay, it feels like it's boiling hot. I'm just at my upper limit. Now I get to stretch that capacity. Um, and I think to my own journey of failure, and I invested a lot of money in business coaches and mentors and really took the leap and the risk of going all in on this. And the first 6 months of my business journey had invested well over 5 figures and I made $132. And like one could say that was an epic failure and should probably just quit, figure something else out. And I was like, no, like this is part of the journey. Like there's things I had to learn. And that's why I also just love mentorship is like if you want to do something you've never done before, why would you waste time trial and erroring? Like value your time, like learn from
Mhm.
experts. And it took me 6 months to learn what I needed to learn. And then literally it was like, that first like 5K month. And then we're at like 13K months. And then we're at 30K months. And then we're at 50K months. And it's like, what if I had given up after,
Oh,
just
yeah.
earning $132 in 6 months? It's
The
scary to
world would be so much different without you, Bre. I mean, you wouldn't have been able to make the impact. And I think we forget the long-term vision of it. I mean, yes, you started with the, I just want to help, moms have the confidence, but we don't have the roadmap per se on exactly how it's going to be done. But if we have the vision for, I want to help support my family. I want to feel like I can make a difference. I want to have an identity outside of mom, you know, then that's out there. You're opening yourself up to some new opportunities. You don't have to have it all figured out. Like
Yeah,
that's what other people are for, right? Like that's why
yeah.
you network. And that's why, I love to bring on people like you to share what you do because how are we going to know? How are
Mhm.
people going to know that the VA position, this that business entrepreneurship of your own could be something for a listener out there that could change their trajectory of their family and their lives? And so I love hearing all of the transition, the transformation that you can have with others. Do you have a program? I mean, you say like you have clients, you have people that you help. How do they get a hold of you? How do they learn more about this program?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it would be such an honor and joy to connect with all of you, like regard program or not. I want to hear your takeaways. I want to hear what resonated. I'm on Instagram at Hey Hey. It's Bre Cain, ITSBRECAIN. Also on Facebook, I do have a free community for moms in or wanting to be in the virtual assistant industry. It's called Mom XVA. I'm sure we could probably link all of that in the
Oh,
show.
yes. Well, it'll be in the show notes. We'll put it in the show notes because
Perfect.
I wouldn't be able to like, huh,
I
what?
know.
No, it's in the
Like,
show
what?
notes. So just go there and click on it.
Yes, yeah. So come hang out. Would love to connect. And then for the moms who are audaciously claiming what they want in motherhood, my program Mom to VA, it's a 90-day, so 3-month mastermind, step-by-step training program, template scripts. There's a private job board with up to 10 hot, active VA job opportunities every single day. 2 coaching calls a week, your own one-to-one accountability coach. You get one-to-one calls with them. It's literally the step-by-step pathway. And the benchmark that we have is 5K months as a VA. And we actually have a 5K guarantee too, because I'm so
Wow.
confident in the program and just the success stories. I mean, we have moms that are at, zero business, income to pacing 125K a year in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Hitting their first 10K months. It's absolutely wild. So yeah, if anyone that's like, okay, I'm all in, like tell me
Yeah.
the details. Mom to VA is absolutely for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that is just so inspiring because there are so many people that's just like, wow, is this too good to be true? But I'm like, no, look at the energy you're putting together. And no, look, I mean, 150 people over the last year plus, that is a lot when you break it down. That has so many transformed, so many lives already. And if you're just even a bit interested in what that is, just reach out to Bre and connect with her because this is something wonderful that can balance our lives out as a mom and also entrepreneur to time and financial freedom, however, which is like all things that I love, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, more, more, more. So, as we wrap up, is there a one thing or a thought that you would like to leave our listeners with today?
Ooh, I love that. Yes. I think the thing that I want to leave you with is trusting your gut and your inner knowing and your intuition that when you feel called to something more and something bigger in life, like that is the truth of who you are and the truth of what's meant for you. If you have a desire in your heart, like it's there for a reason. It's your path. And just really trust that life gets to be all of what you make it. And it's as big as you can imagine in your mind. The only limit or construct that we have is truly what we limit ourselves in our mind. And one of the things that I've really worked on, this past year and a half in my life and my business is normalizing what's possible when you audaciously go after your dreams. And it's one of those things, literally sitting in this exact spot a year ago. I was making essentially no income. I was writing in a 369 affirmation journal or manifestation journal. Thank you for my 20K months. And to like look back now and like we're over doubling that in the business every month. It's because from day one, I was like I'm not playing small. Like I'm here to play big. I'm here to live the life that I meant to live. And I just want to normalize that for other people. Like life gets to be as big as you can imagine it to be, as big as you dare to dream.
Oh, yes, there's no limit to what we can do, but only if we limit ourselves and we break free from that.
Mhm.
Just imagine what that could be. Dream audaciously. I mean, I just think of like dream as big as you can, and
Yeah.
then take little steps.
Mhm.
Believe in yourself and find people that will believe in you and show you the way. And Bre can show you the way to take your time as a mom and make it precious and make it even better, because when moms are feeling so great about themselves and what impact they're making in the lives of others, they are better moms. So let's all be better moms any time of the year. So
Go fill our own cup first and we'll
go
be
fill
better.
yes, we have to fill our own cup first, and go fill your cup by checking out Bre and her Mom to VA program, and just indulge. Just indulge and just indulge in just her energy and her smile, and see if it's for you. And if it's not for you, that's okay. Pass it on to somebody who you think is going to be a great fit. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bre. It's been a pleasure.
So much fun. Thank you for having me. What a joy.